So I have only just recently, in preparation for Wednesday, seen Class of 1999.
And I know Greg has seen it because his hair is blown back. He looks
it's
changed.
Also,
He's been
it's
hitting that
stark
edge.
white and I have a rat tail for some reason now.
These are a lot of
shit.
good choices you guys are going to learn about on Wednesday.
Holy shit. This fucking movie. I was not prepared for how fucking rad this is. First of all, this is, that Seattle you've heard about that doesn't exist anymore. Oh, captured beautifully on film. 1989 Seattle as standing in for 1999 Seattle in this dystopic, futuristic science fiction film.
Well, consider that basically the production company was like, we need a place that will both give us tax incentives to make this movie and looks like a future hellhole. And they settled on Seattle, which is a real thing to consider.
Yeah, I think I think you pick Seattle as a film location out of financial and practical considerations. Back when, studios used to set some movies here sometimes. When you just need a city that everyone's heard of and understand is a big city, but carries no other cultural signifiers with it at all in people's minds, and that may not really be the case anymore. But for a lot of the 20th century, no one had any fucking idea what was going on out here.
Sleepless in Seattle was probably the last
Yeah.
of that type of movie,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
you can't do it anymore because of the tech shit and even the WTO stuff probably kind of
for
put a
sure,
little halt
yeah.
on that, but yeah.
Anyway, it's fucking rad. Stacy Keach frankly steals the show.
Yeah, it's one of the members of the Kong family, I think. From, Donkey Kong.
But yes, deserves an Oscar.
Stacey Kong,
Deserves an
yeah.
Oscar.
Dude.
Stacey Keach is an American
great-
treasure,
yeah, he's a
and
great
we should,
character actor,
yeah, we
yeah.
should all be thrilled that he is on this planet. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing and everything, especially Class of 1999.
Holy shit, he's so fucking rad. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Come out. It's gonna be fun. We'll do a little presentation beforehand, but we'll want to come out, show up early, I guess. We'll hang out, drink some beers. I don't know. I'm gonna assume we should actually find out when the guys at the Beacon are willing to open the doors and start selling beer. I'm gonna assume that's a solid hour before, but who knows? Maybe half hour. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll be there at noon, so even if it's not open, you can join our picket outside demanding that it open. So,
And then if anyone has any ideas, maybe we'll figure this out before this episode posts, I don't know. But if anyone has any ideas for a bar we can all go to, anyone who, doesn't have to get up the next morning, I guess. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody come on out.
yeah, Class 99 this Wednesday, December 11th, 7 p.m.
At this time, as we're recording, there are still some tickets left, but
Yeah.
they're more than half sold out, so we're getting close to packing this
Yeah.
room.
I believe when they told us that they had passed the halfway point, they sounded audibly surprised. So, help us out. Help us keep the surprise train going.
If we really do good for the lads at the Beacon, maybe they'll let us do this again.
Yeah,
And then we can demand more elaborate
Kristen Stewart
production value
related
for them.
content.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
I mean, we can. This will only help in our
Ultimate goal.
lobbying to bring Twilight to the Beacon.
Your tattoos are so deep, they really make me think.
Welcome back to Seattle Sucks, a podcast about hating the city we love.
Hey,
It's
Colin, you sound excited or happy to be on this podcast or something.
I was
what's new?
listening,
What's
I think, to the
different?
last two, and it seemed like I wanted to die. So
Yeah, it did,
I thought I had to maybe pretend like I was alive inside.
Yeah.
Or maybe it could be because I just received news from the American heartland that new drink of choice. Friendship ended with Ain't No Law When You're Drinking the Claw. New best friend, La Cola. I convinced somebody in Chicago to get on board the train, and he loves it. He's
Wait,
a big fan.
You don't even drink it.
I don't drink it. I just told him about it. He loved it. He loved the idea. He had to order it online, but he loves it. He just sent me a picture of him drinking.
Dude, I'm telling you, the La Cola is where it's
Very
at, man.
divisive,
It's all I drink.
but it is the new best friend podcast. So good.
Yeah, I love it. Great. What's going on? What's going on right now?
Well, all kinds of things have been going on. We're gonna do a little news roundup because so much stuff has happened. Perhaps not most notably, but funnily enough, Amazon is gonna go to New York City anyway.
Oh, who could have seen that coming?
really
That's
weird.
crazy. Yeah, who could have imagined? Because New York only had the contest going for it, so there was no reason to go there other than the tax incentives, right?
That's right. That was the only way that the numbers were going to pan out. So
Yeah, and I mean, it was really, it was really just because they put in the best bid. Like they they would have chosen to go anywhere.
yeah,
Well, they were on their way to Cleveland. I just remember this for some reason, and it's probably unrelated. But I remember during the head tax debate, they talked about how if we didn't repeal the head tax, they were going to leave that building that they were going to occupy downtown. And then when the head tax was repealed, they just left the building anyways. Does this mean that maybe these companies are full of shit?
I think it means more specifically that the amounts of money these companies like Amazon make dwarfs like considerations like the head tax, but in fact they'll just do whatever they will do and say whatever it is to squeeze any dollar they can out of a city or a state, but that doesn't mean that you have to fucking give in to them because they gotta be fucking somewhere.
Yeah, for once, New York didn't negotiate with terrorists, and look at that, Amazon's crawling its way back over there. So.
I just wonder where Jeff's gonna park his helipad or like charge his robot dog now that he lost those concessions.
Yeah.
Someone will. I mean, they'll get a helipad somewhere. You know.
Yeah,
they'll just
like-
have to go through the normal fucking process.
They'll just go to whatever big hospitals in the area and make them get rid of like your helipad's now the Amazon.
Like,
They have
a bunch of
taxiing.
a bunch of. I'm picturing like some Prime delivery like people just like shoving a medevac helicopter over the edge and like waving in Jeff, you know, just plummets down to the courtyard below.
Yeah, exactly.
That rocks. Well, maybe he should have looked at a more progressive city that perhaps became the first city in the United States to offer free public transit. Did you
Wait,
know
hold
that?
on,
about
wait, hold
one
on.
progressive city.
Yeah, and also
I know.
let's pause for a second.
Oh,
Free
sure.
public transit. I mean, that of course means after a long series of means testing and whatnot,
Yes,
to ensure
right.
that only the most destitute get the free transit. Right?
No, actually, this was just free for everyone, for all.
I don't understand this, Colin. If it's free, it will not cost money.
You're right.
That sounds like it would be very popular.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, it is. You're
We
both
know
right.
we know from local transit agencies that that's a problem.
Well, this is this a new Ginny Durkin initiative for progressive Seattle, the country's most progressive city?
Well, I'm afraid to break your progressive heart when I tell you that it's actually Kansas City.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or
place-
Kansas.
That's
Not
so
sure
nice.
which half.
Yeah, a place that's famous for putting fucking spaghetti in its chili and shit. It makes
Hey.
awful barbecue. Fucking got to this before we did,
Yeah,
and that is pathetic.
They also had
honestly.
Google Municipal
Wait a
Broadband,
minute.
I think, too.
Is Kansas City barbecue like it's not that different from like Texas barbecue?
Kansas City barbecue is sweet,
Okay.
whereas Texas is peppery.
Oh, but they're both
Yeah.
beef, like brisket. Like,
Kansas City does more beef, but I think there's still a pork centered style.
really? Okay.
We're gonna get to the
Interesting.
bottom of this, guys. Hit us up on Twitter.
I'm
if you have any
very
actual
much like
evidence of this.
a Carolina style barbecue guy.
I'm more of a cube steak kind
Yeah.
of dude.
Ah, hell yeah.
But
Yeah, like a normal person, I've never been to Kansas City, so who knows?
I only drove through it. It looked beautiful, I have to say, like 10 years ago. Looked like a great place.
cool.
And
Well,
now-
they've got fucking
yeah.
free transit.
Just go
so
right around.
it's weird.
Public transit.
Like, I mean, what's gonna happen? Like anyone will be able to ride at any time. Like what?
It's
I mean,
weird
can you
because
imagine like the chaos that would ensue from that.
yeah, and it would honestly, you would think it would make the citizens reliant on it and want to defend it as a universal public good, which seems like a crazy plan.
And
what a mistake.
Yeah, want it to expand rapidly to
Yeah.
to cover everyone in the metropolitan area.
Yeah, now that's
Want to
free. Yeah, people that are underserved might be upset that they aren't getting the transit.
Construction and expansion for car infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
In favor of more transit. Anyway,
Yeah, kudos to Kansas City.
Yeah, a truly progressive city, apparently.
Yeah. So what's going on in our neck of the woods, Colin?
Well, back here at home in this progressive enclave, a little-known organization that when you told me about it, I thought you were joking, called Women's Liberation Front, is hosting a private event in the Seattle Public Library. And this is a bit of a problem because they are just a little tad transphobic.
And by a little, of course, I mean the
chiefly.
bathroom warriors.
full on turf bathroom warriors. It's funny. This is funny because like, what are they called? The TLA, the Turf Liberation Army. It's funny to just like realize, like get your bubble burst and go like, God, these people like exist in the real world, not just on like in the
Twitter.
angry pixies online, like the streaming electrons
Or-
that go into your eyeballs,
Or
like,
sitting at your local alt weekly writing stories.
yeah, but I mean, like that's all just the internet to me, Like,
will Katie be at this event? That's the real question. I
she's-
know one
she
event
doesn't-
she will.
She's not coming into the city. for
Yeah,
that.
there's at least one event though that she'll be welcome at. But, yeah, and,
No, they'll probably all go out to her compound for dinner after.
Ooh, yeah.
yeah,
They'll stay the weekend.
yeah, they gotta go out. To the
Anyway,
Gulch.
that shit sucks.
Yeah, it really sucks.
Well, I
And-
think
but-
we should read real quick just the Erica Barnett comment on this, which I thought was good.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Which she points out that basically like they were anti-trans bathrooms, which is or anti like bathroom usage, which is a thing that the library actually allows. But she says when people are arguing with her, it's about free speech. She says all these things are choices, and choices are never just about the plain letter of the law. When values conflict, and they often do, institutions have to decide between those values. Pretending that decisions about platforms are value neutral, up or down, free speech decisions is willfully naive. Prioritizing free speech is saying that other civil rights considerations are lower on the value scale. So,
Yeah, it is. I
yeah.
mean, that's exceptionally well put. The basic question, right, is like, well, where, like with so many things, well, where would you draw that line, right? Who would you allow to speak there? And yeah, I mean, their whole brand, like so many reactionaries, is being like very like logical and reasonable. But I mean, we don't need to tell anyone to listen to this that these people that their shit leaves no room for people to be trans in life.
Yeah.
So
it's a reactionary cause inherently.
it really is.
It's about reinforcing gender binaries from
Yeah.
long gone eras that they fantasize about.
Yeah, and even more than that. I mean, it's like, they just, you can't, they want to, like, pull up your skirt and look at your junk and tell you where you can and can't go.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Fuck those people, but that is just, I don't know.
Yes, that's what's going on in Seattle
Yeah.
versus the rest of the country.
Yeah,
So,
well, and
cool.
we should mention, just to close it out, that the chief librarian had to issue a statement saying that basically all speech is welcome, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
again, like, that's, all.
Yeah,
I mean, really? Really? All speech?
right.
Like,
Well, yeah, exactly.
I'm guessing there's some shit that you wouldn't, like, be okay with.
If you're having a citizens meeting to, formally resegregate the school system, I feel like they probably wouldn't allow that, right? If you had to keep women in the kitchen, club meeting. They probably wouldn't allow that.
Yeah, and
but,
they'd
like,
have
mysteriously this is okay.
and they'd use some sort of liberal rubric, that everyone can agree on, like hate speech or something. The thing is that there's this whole movement of quote feminists who want to exclude trans people from human existence. They've just managed to articulate their sort of awful cause in such a way that I don't know. It's just like there's some kind of fucking blind spot that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, because I mean, if they're not a hate group, I don't know who the fuck is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Well, yeah. All right. Well,
Anyway,
continue on to
fun
much
super
more
cool.
uplifting topics.
Yeah. Well, it's something I'm very proud of, so I'm glad to.
Exciting new news.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Colin.
Yeah.
We're always wondering, what is it that you and the freaks are so hard at work on all the time, toiling away, writing code, right? All this machine learning you've been telling us about. It's your Magnolia Mindset,
Machine Learning Academy.
Machine Learning Academy, and finally, big news announcing, your first big public infrastructure project. I mean, congratulations on
Thank you.
snapping up this contract.
Thank you.
And let's read about it in the paper.
Yeah. So thank you, Heidi Groover, for tweeting this out. You didn't write this, we know, but you definitely got it out there. And it's always awesome to see shout out to the Academy. So here we go. Let's see what the Seattle Times had to say. Magnolia residents' AI-powered surveillance camera tracks people, cars, at entrance to neighborhood. Experts caution bias. And then there's a picture of one of our freaks sitting on the porch. I'm not really sure how he got outside, with a computer, just looking right dead into your eyes while writing some amazing code, I'm sure.
And that is how the freaks code, right? Is they stare directly
Yeah.
into your eyes like dead while they just type away.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't really want to be focusing when you're writing this code. You just kind of let it flow through you. It's like speaking in tongues, really.
Freaks don't even need a monitor.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is by Melissa Hellman, and it begins, at the dining room table of his Magnolia home overlooking Salmon Bay, Phil Andrews props open his computer and scrolls through images captured by a neighborhood-wide security network. One photo appears of a person's back as they stroll down the tree-lined street, and another of a black convertible. The surveillance system, made by Atlanta-based Flock Safety, I'm not sure, they got that part wrong. That was built in the lab, as we said, but
Yeah, well, subcontracted.
yeah,
to Magnolia Mindset.
right. This
Yeah.
is more of a front.
Well, nobody wants to credit the freaks.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's the way it is. Acts as an all-in-one private investigator equipped with artificial intelligence.
It's
AI.
called Magnet.
The system uses computer vision and machine learning to digitize and categorize images of license plates, the color, make, and model of vehicles, as well as how many times a car has entered the neighborhood in a 30-day period.
So the AI can see color.
Interesting. Sure, this will not come into play in any way.
A Magnolia resident for 5 years, Andrews said he's seen an uptick in neighborhood disruptions near the secluded
Disruptions.
waterfront community of dead-end streets called Land's End.
Yeah, so first off, he uses disruptions, or the writer here is using disruptions, because there's no actual crime happening, right? Like, this is literally just like, I saw somebody I don't like one time, and now I need a cybersecurity system to make sure they are eliminated with extreme prejudice. He wants to hire those cops from fucking Miami to come on in and, like,
God.
patrol the fucking neighborhood.
Jesus.
See, I mean, like to disrupt a neighborhood implies like a sinkhole or something.
Well, yeah, and Magnolia
So what,
has
are they
had
gonna
problems.
Give any fucking examples?
Yes, they will. He noted a break-in, package theft, and people meandering through the neighborhood who appeared high as a kite.
So 100% all people who live in Magnolia. The break-in, that was your children.
Yep.
Absolute. My mother, who is a paranoid suburban psychotic who literally locks her doors like in and out of the house in the middle of the day. Like, she locks my sister's door and it drives them crazy. Drives my nieces crazy because like she will, anytime she leaves or comes in their front door, she'll lock it.
Yeah.
And then they like slam into the door. And I'm like,
Yep.
But when I tell her she's insane, she cites this one thing. Fucking 25 years ago, our neighbors, this like retired couple in a big ugly house, were robbed and had their valuables stolen, their jewelry and stuff like that. And I
What
was
happened
like,
to Bruce Wayne, their son?
Was there a rash of cat burglaries in the neighborhood at that time?
Yeah.
Was there like, oh no, just this one house? Just this when it was obviously like their fucking kids. Like that's the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
only
Yeah.
instance or
Yeah.
or their nephews
Yeah.
or you know at the most attached their kids' friends.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
but you know, no, the paranoid suburban mind can only imagine outside agitators, dirty,
Yeah.
poor,
Yeah, probably wearing
probably
a,
not white people,
on a shirt
um,
that's like black and white stripes. You know, like a mask.
no,
you
something
know.
from outside the body.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
and
what's
that's fucking insane. Again, also everything else on that list too. What were the other things?
package,
package
theft,
theft.
and then just
Package
people
theft?
walking around.
Yeah, people living on the
literally
street
people walking around. I didn't like
that
them.
he thinks are high.
Again,
Yeah, which just
so
means, like, people I
they
didn't
probably
like.
were fucking. Well, first of all, this guy. This is like some like Fear and Loathing shit. Like this guy wouldn't know
Oh yeah.
some
No.
high
No.
anyone was high if like. But also again, like people who live in houses get fucking stoned out of their mind. Like people who live in Magnolia like do fat lines of blow at 2 a.m. and go just like walk in the streets just for to get their restless leg syndrome under control.
Or
you know?
teenagers sometimes leave the house to get away from their
Yeah.
overbearing, domineering fucking parents.
Oh right,
Yes.
To,
yeah,
like,
they're seeing
walk
ki-
around.
And God
kids who
bless
they
Magnolia
think of
teenagers,
as
I have
looking
to
like
say.
they think they're wearing like gang colors and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they've got like flat brim hats and shit, and it's just the local 12-year-olds,
Yeah, and in like even the break-in stuff. I remember it when I was in like elementary school. I was really obsessed with like seeing in people's houses. And probably, I'm sure the statute of limitations is gone on this. But me and another individual who will not be named in my neighborhood used to occasionally find an open window and like go in people's houses and look inside. And we weren't like stealing anything, but we were like kids, right? We were
Yeah.
like getting into rambunctious kid shit. And
Sure.
it's like the amount of stuff that happens in your neighborhood, yeah, exactly like you're saying, that is just your kids doing it is enormous, and yeah, I mean, come on. So,
Yeah. Well, when you can barely remember who your kids are, I guess it is a convenient foil. But he says Seattle's changed. It wasn't like this 15 years ago when my wife and I moved here.
So he has a really deep reservoir of knowledge about the city to make this judgment. I take it.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Flock safety has proved popular throughout the city. Magnolia is one of 10 neighborhoods in the Seattle area. Do they mean Northwest Seattle area using the system?
Mm-hmm.
But the company would not disclose the other locations.
I can already tell you, it's right over there. What's the fucking the industry?
Laurelhurst?
Yeah, it's definitely Laurelhurst. That's definitely on the list.
Probably Madison Park.
Yeah, I feel like we could probably make a list of 20 right now, and that 10 is in that list. Like,
Yeah, no doubt.
you know.
No doubt.
So yeah, okay, go on, because I gotta know what this actually.
So
is like.
then there's this picture of a single solar-powered camera amongst tree foliage, and I guess we're supposed to think that's cool or something.
Yeah, well, the nice thing about it is the Seattle Times does give you this photo of what the cameras look like, and I feel like they'd be pretty conspicuous sitting on this pole with the solar panel on top. And, I mean, it would just be awful.
Yeah, it would be
If,
a
if
real
somebody
shame.
like spray painted it or something like that, that would be terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, it just looks like it's
and
just
hopefully
right
no
out
one
in the-
does anything worse than that.
Yeah, I mean,
causes
it's-
any more property damage.
Yeah, I
than
know,
that.
and it's just right out there in the open, and you would think you'd be concerned about that.
About
and,
disruption.
yeah, that somebody might just come
Yeah.
like hit it with a hammer.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
spray paint it, whatever. You know, it just seems like the kind of thing that you just wouldn't like to have happen.
I think you're probably right about that.
Yeah, do we got any teens listening to this show? No.
We used to. I don't know if we still do. Eric, if you're out there, we miss you. The AI security camera in Land's End is part of a larger trend of increased surveillance in a time when technology has become cheaper and more effective. AI cameras such as Flock Safety that detect objects and automatically read license plates eliminate the time-consuming need for human analysis, in turn creating digitally gated communities.
Cool.
I
Hey,
love-
what's that? Wait, what's that next part that he has right there? Is that little
Especially
hyphy?
in wealthier area.
Okay, I like that they're actually called flock safety, as
Yeah.
in you're all sheep.
Yeah. Oh, you know, I mean, security companies are always the best because they have the most dystopian names, and I also love that sometimes their names are just openly hostile to the people who purchase
Well,
it.
because the need for policing and security is predicated on dystopia.
Yeah, yeah.
If we lived in a if anyone thought we lived in a good place, we wouldn't need those things.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Wow. This is fucking dark, man. So what? So okay. I'm sure the details are forthcoming.
Where residents can observe who enters and leaves their neighborhood from anywhere with an internet connection.
Can't see that going wrong.
While studies show that security cameras can prevent crime when used in conjunction with other deterrents, such as increased lighting, some researchers say AI surveillance systems exacerbate users' inherent biases and impact people who are disproportionately policed, such as people of color and those experiencing homelessness.
Also, like what it points out, first of all, before even getting to the bias thing, this is shit we talked about on this very similar concept last week with the Ring shit.
Yeah.
But the idea of, to the extent that security cameras really have a use, they are generally, it's for deterrence, right? Like, so you have the eyeballs, you
eyes in the sky, bird's eye
you
view.
can't see where they're looking in the grocery store, so it makes you paranoid that someone's watching you while you shoplift. So theoretically, maybe you don't if you're a pussy. And then, but like this isn't like, this is like a basically, it's covering like a wide area that no one's most people aren't gonna notice it's there when they're walking. They're not thinking like there's a camera. It's not to deter anybody from doing anything. What, from entering the neighborhood? So like it's really just so some old fucks can sit at their computer all day and all night just watching and waiting, like with one hand on the phone to dial 911 and the other hand on a 45, and like the thrill for them is choosing which one to use,
Yeah. And like half a bottle of Blue Chew down the old hatch. Yeah, it feels like a feedback loop of fear.
Of course.
Here.
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked about this with the Ring, but they've done studies and that people like using these kind of apps and things like that, it just makes them more paranoid at the end of the day. Which is in that article about the Ring, which is actually really nice, as they point out, it's like, well, it's meant to do that because that then sells the product, which is why with the Ring they sell you the internet community to ramp you up, right? Here's the message board to take your videos to, so you guys can get all jacked up on it and like buy more of our shit, right? I mean, again, we say this every episode, I feel like, but like Seattle is the safest it's ever been. It's an extremely safe city by any standard. Like, this is insanity. To be this scared and paranoid is fucking madness.
Oh,
It is
completely.
crazy.
If you're white. I mean, if you're not, you are in danger of getting killed by the police.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, or
Well, I mean,
apparently your
fuck,
neighbors.
You're in that danger 40 years ago, too, So, I mean,
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
in
that-
that sense, it's like our police situations remain completely stagnant. So
Yeah,
we're basically
yeah.
are kind of in the
Oh,
same
God.
spot. Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Your biases are going to determine who's suspicious, who should be in the community, and who shouldn't be there. said Bryce Peterson, principal research associate at the DC-based nonprofit Urban Institute's Justice Policy Center.
Woo.
Yeah, yikes. While Flock Safety's business model revolves around providing evidence for law enforcement to solve crimes, even the Seattle Police Department has wrestled with the morality of collecting footage gleaned from private security systems.
I bet you they have.
Yeah,
not.
exactly. They're just salivating over it.
Yeah. Their main complaint probably is having to deal with the fucking neighbors or whatever. Like that they don't have just a direct feed or something, so they have to actually talk to these people who I'm sure are all completely insufferable. Like,
No, I mean, the problem with
interaction.
that thing for the cops is like when they want to pin a crime on somebody, then someone's going to go to the footage and go, but that person wasn't there, and then they're going to be like, oh fuck.
Public outrage following SPD's purchase of 2 drones in 2012 led then-Mayor Mike McGinn to cancel the unmanned aerial vehicle program before it even began. The next year, concerned residents and civil rights activists urged city leaders to regulate surveillance systems after the police department deployed a wireless mesh network
Hell yeah.
and 30 cameras designed to enhance port security along Seattle's waterfront.
Yeah, I know that there was also a lot of, I can't remember what they call the device, but there was a lot of concern about SPD using like snooping devices for wireless. That like grab the
wireless mesh network.
Yeah, I know that like when the Black Lives Matter stuff was going on, there was like a lot of concern that SPD was using those. And yeah, I mean the drone one was so funny because it came. They started doing that right at the time that everybody started to realize that we were like fucking dropping bombs on like wedding parties and shit via drone. And it's like, wow, it's weird that people would be upset that the police have these. Like, what a strange concept.
Well, on the plus side, it might permeate all of our local art as it has in Afghanistan.
Oh, God damn.
Regarding flock safety, police department emails from August 2018 to August 2019 obtained through a public records request showed company representatives contacted the department in May to ensure police had access to footage from the Magnolia camera.
Cool.
In response, community policing team officer Chad McLaughlin requested footage only be sent to the department when there was suspicious activity. I appreciate that you would like us to have access to the footage, but this has caused major issues in the past, McLaughlin said. Seattle doesn't seem to like the police monitoring any sort of surveillance systems.
Weird.
Yeah, that is really odd.
Well, and also they also recognize like them having like a 24-hour feed like doesn't do it in
Right.
anything unless you're gonna dedicate someone to
To
fucking
watch
it or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Which they're like, yeah, you can do that.
Well, the AI
And when
is
something
doing that.
actually, yeah, right. When I think some old people are watching. This too.
Yeah.
And when something actually happens, you can let us know.
Right.
You know.
At the entrance of the next block is, what is flock safety? At the entrance of Andrews neighborhood on the northern edges of Magnolia, a red and white sign informs visitors that the area is under 24/7 video surveillance. Affixed to a towering pole a few feet away, the flock safety camera, a small black box resembling a bulky graphing calculator, sits under large solar panels. A nearby sign reads, "Local access only," and does not restrict access, but warns people the neighborhood is a series of dead-end roads.
Cool.
Wow,
Well,
that is like, yeah, the local access only just to enter Magnolia, which makes sense in like a purely like road planning. Yeah, it goes nowhere. Like there's nothing left. It's it's an island.
Yeah.
But still, there's something kind of sinister about that.
Yeah, and it's definitely hard not to feel some glee when you accidentally drive through these, as I did recently, and I was scowled at by some woman walking her dog.
Well, I think also attaching the flock security sign to the local access only sign is a
Yeah.
message.
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely.
It also is, I mean, a weird way to know where the cameras are. Again, I'm just very concerned that something might happen to them. So
The integrity
Just gonna put that out
of
there.
this network is paramount. It
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
a profound shame if it were to go down or be obstructed somehow.
yeah. Awful.
While residents had stationed individual cameras outside of their homes, Andrews was in search of an affordable solution that would deter potential thieves from entering the neighborhood in the first place. Andrews found Flock Safety online, and the company promised the sense of security he was seeking for a one-time payment of $1,500. There,
Cool.
yeah. There was widespread buy-in, so much so that within 1 day of soliciting payment, Andrews said half of the about 70 homeowners sent him money. He shredded checks from an additional 15 neighbors in the following days when he'd raised more than he needed.
I love
Oh,
that
that's so heartwarming.
The only thing cheap in America is turning your neighbor like into a panopticon.
Yeah.
I love that everything is so fucking expensive except for this. This
Yeah.
is dirt cheap.
So
take my money.
This guy just was like, I'm gonna put this on my lawn, and then give everybody in the neighborhood access to it.
Well, no. He said like we're gonna buy a bunch of these cameras and put them at all the entrances and exits.
Yeah.
And we just need to raise a little bit of money, and then we can all watch our little security feed.
Yep.
Absolutely wretched.
Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, all those people in Magnolia fucking suck.
Oh, 100%. That shows that people are concerned about safety and like the peace of mind of it, Andrews said. Andrews, the administrator of the neighborhood's Flock Safety system, allows any neighbor to access the online portal. Users can search for an object in question, like a vehicle, bicycle, animal, or person. The system spits out any footage that matches the description and how often the object may have appeared. A safe list feature in the portal allows homeowners to omit their license plates so their vehicles are excluded from searches.
Oh, weird.
That's
So
really odd.
They find it to be intrusive and maybe even a little humiliating, but for others, it's okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So can we all just create our own techno dystopias, like adjoining one another, where we just torment each other?
I think so, yeah.
This is the Internet of Things, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, to some degree, for
You
sure.
know what would be weird if I just sort of got a hold of one of these like a beat up, example of one of these cameras and used it as like a maidenhead on Naiad.
Oh, hell yeah. That would rock,
Strap it to the
actually.
bow.
Yeah, you should just live stream from there. The footage is accessible for 30 days and could be shared with law enforcement if the neighborhood chooses to do so. And then it shows us a picture of Andrews playing with his MacBook. He's done a search for what might be black because I see someone wearing a black shirt and a black car.
Every day.
I'm not joking.
He just puts in different terms for black.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can see his query, but we can only see dates.
Yeah.
And then also, I think it's important to...
How many times do you think he puts in the query and it pops up and asks if he wants to switch from English to Spanish language?
It's also important to mention he has glassy babies right next to him on his table.
Fuck this guy.
Which, just
Yeah,
super
fuck this
cool.
guy.
Cool dude.
You know what I like? I like going to the store, but not any store, having to find one fucking store in particular to purchase a glass that you just drink water out of for like $80.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's my fucking jam.
It rocks. Launched in 2017, Flock Safety was created by co-founder and CEO Garrett Langley, an electrical engineer who wanted to solve petty crime in his neighborhood near Atlanta. His research revealed
Amateur gumshoe.
his research revealed that most property crimes go unsolved. As we've covered before, that's because they don't matter.
Yeah.
And he suspected individual home security cameras weren't helping. He conducted an informal poll of police stations and found law enforcement needed more evidence to solve petty crimes, namely license plates. So, again, that's just solving
This
one
is like-
very
I
narrow
love this
circumstance
informal
of
poll he did where he was sort of placated and gotten rid of by like whoever was at the desk. Like, yeah, solving better property crime, and he. Like, a lot of times there's nothing we do. Well, what if you had more evidence? Yeah, sure. How about license plates? Oh, yeah, that'd do it. See you later, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was probably like, what do you need? Blood? Teeth? Hair? Our problem is that as a community, we're too focused on ourselves, said Langley. If we actually banded together and procured a solution that protected the whole community, perhaps we could make an impact.
This is like he's achieving white fragility consciousness. I think at this point is what he's talking about.
That is pretty incredible. Langley and co-founder Matt Fury went from soldering circuit boards at a dining room table, to the Flock safety system now being used in more than 300 cities around the country.
This is, we started in a garage,
Yep.
but for horrifying security
garbage.
systems, Could you imagine if like there was a fucking the makers of Zyklon B originally originally started out just in their garage, just mixing chemicals together and fucking shit up. Yeah.
Jesus. Langley said the product immediately saw success when the data resulted in a first arrest in DeKalb County, Georgia. Since its installation in Magnolia last winter, Andrews said the system has already yielded evidence.
So nothing.
Yeah. A fellow neighbor's home security camera captured a person jumping out of a car and grabbing a package from a resident's property in March. But the footage wasn't detailed enough to read the license plate. Wah, wah, wah.
Well, that and I love turning my neighborhood into surveillance state so that I don't lose like a $20 Amazon trinket.
Yeah, like
you
know what a cheaper thing would have been? Just get one of those stupid Amazon lockers and go pick up your shit, or get a PO box.
When it disappears,
if you really
off
care
your,
that much
when
about
it disappears off your porch, go into Amazon's help desk and type in "package did not arrive,"
yes,
and they'll just send
too.
you another one.
Yeah,
but no, definitely don't do that. Turn your neighborhood into 24-hour surveillance.
No, because it's
zone.
not about the fact that it
Fucking
doesn't
freak.
affect you at all. It's that someone
got away
is
with
getting
something.
away with something.
Yeah, this is the underpinning
That's all
philosophy.
that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, yep.
Someone, you cannot be
A
allowed
crime
to
has
get
gone
away
unpunished.
It's just Judge Dredd mentality.
They have that attitude. These people have that attitude about a lot less than actually stealing some shit off your actual home.
Yeah, you know that might really be the Seattle ethos. Like, for real.
Oh, yeah.
That might be the thing. That
But it's
binds
just
us
like-
all.
Never let anyone get away with anything. Never let anyone have anything for free.
Follow those
Well,
rules. Get out in the bus lane.
Yeah, it's American like liberalism, right? We have to kill like 20,000 people a year for not having health care because on the chance that one person might go to the doctor when they don't need to. Like, we can't let them get away with that.
Hell
I don't
yeah.
care how many kids die. Like, I will. Yeah.
The system is
rocks.
working.
Yeah.
The neighbors logged into Flock Safety, and within minutes, they retrieved a still image of the suspected car's license plate. Do you guys feel the adrenaline releasing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm in it.
It also revealed that the car had visited the area at 2 a.m. twice that month, Andrews said. He's uncertain if SPD was able to solve the crime.
This is like Chinatown, man. I'm so close to this investigation. It's all about to
Forget about
break
it.
wide open.
Forget about it, Brian. It's Magnolia.
While Seattle police spokesperson Sean Whitcomb confirmed the incident was reported to the police, he said it doesn't appear the department has pursued an investigation using the footage. So we're 0 for 2 there at least.
So nothing of note in the they interviewed the guy who owns the company, and we have no convictions, no actual solved
One arrest,
crimes.
they said, was what really got
Yeah, in Georgia.
everyone panting and moaning and
Which was
touching themselves.
Probably like 100% somebody just being like, there's a black person in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
an arrest happened.
Yeah, it was
a
like a
Dukes
parole
of Hazzard
violation.
style,
or-
police, Enos and whatever showed up, jumped their car,
They
like
just
over
arrested
a
a guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he was committing a crime.
Right,
Doesn't mean he was even charged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just arrested, probably shoved to the ground, had
Yeah.
his face in the concrete, like
Yeah, Jesus.
handcuffed, and like,
Cool.
oh, job well done, everybody.
We did it. Whitcomb noted that it's too early to determine whether the rise of AI security. That sounds like a Terminator subtitle.
dun.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun.
Cameras has reduced crime in Seattle. While cameras help move investigations forward, they don't serve as the only piece of evidence to solve a case. AI technology can probably do more things than a passive camera, Whitcomb said. At the same time, that information is only as good as the investigators who are working on a given case.
So this is SPD we're talking about. He
Well,
just
I
sold
love that
out.
Sean just throwing his guys under the bus there.
It's like, listen, we're not working with the sharpest tools in the shed here, okay? Yeah, we could probably solve some crimes, like some really clever, intelligent, well-trained, professional police department might be able to nab a few collars with this AI technology, but us, oh, fuck. We're a bunch of dumb shits.
Yeah, this isn't teens jaywalking, all right?
Yeah, seriously.
I think it's important before we continue also just to clarify here that there's no conventional AI as far as I can tell.
Mhm.
This is just marketing garbage to
yeah.
get you horned up and put up that 1,500.
Yeah, no, it's all
This is
horseshit.
not AI.
If you buy that new Age of Empires game, it has more AI in it. Than
Oh,
this
yeah,
does.
it
Well,
does. Yeah,
even,
that is
like,
real.
AI isn't AI,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
this isn't even like phony marketing AI.
No, no. This is just basically image capture. Like
but it's
and
it's
image
able
recognition.
to just image recognition.
that's all it is.
Yeah.
Is it kind of?
But did they program that image recognition
guarantee-
using machine learning?
Well,
Ooh.
maybe,
What are you guys doing over
put
the
it that
academy?
maybe
Well,
it's possible.
Well, it's also interesting. Every time I see a sentence, because I'm doing this stupid Hellcast, I got to read this shit all the time. Anytime I read a sentence like it's too early to determine whether the rise of AI security cameras. Whenever I read shit like that, I am viewing the Terminator now from a completely different lens of maybe we should take out Sarah Connor. I think the robots are right. They should blow us up. This shit sucks.
Oh, damn. All right, so we get to the next big title here, which is civil liberty concerns.
Can't imagine there's any.
Home security is expected to be a nearly $48 billion business by next year, with AI cameras accounting for a small subsection of the growth, said former senior policy analyst Alan McQuinn of nonprofit Information Technology and Innovation Foundation. Whew. The main clientele for AI security systems are higher income residents who typically experience less crime than people in poorer neighborhoods.
You don't say.
That's odd, McQuinn said, noting that there's not enough academic research to show the results of AI security cameras.
So the reason for their existence is completely fictional and in people's brains.
Yeah,
it has no actual relationship to outward,
Completely.
in quotations, crime.
Yeah, completely. And this also is just so infuriating because the AI, if there is AI, is not towards any kind of security or smart recognition of crime. It's just object detection.
What it does is it does that object detection that companies like Amazon use for how they determine the pictures. In that it looks at the person, it cross-references it to the Amazon catalog to see how expensive their clothes are, and then under a certain level, it calls the police.
Dude, what do you want to bet that frame grabs from these cameras are showing up in CAPTCHA prompts? And that's actually how it knows what a license plate is and what a car is.
Well, we don't need to get into it, but it's actually not that hard to do that stuff with open source software off the shelf. There are articles you could just go query license plate image recognition. There'd be tutorials on how to do it. And that's kind of my point. There's nothing here beyond image recognition and having cameras that are capturing images. That's it. Yeah. There's no security AI. There's nothing profound here.
Well, thank God.
That robot from the end of RoboCop isn't crawling out,
I mean, I guess that's their goal, but again, this to me is just very marketing washed. Let's put it that way. There's a strong element of security theater where people are investing in cameras because it feels safer and it gives them more peace of mind, and that's important, said McQuinn. Civil liberty advocates wonder at what cost the AI systems will increase the sense of safety for the predominantly affluent communities that install the software.
Well, I mean, you've got it backwards anyway. It won't increase their sense of safety.
Yeah.
This whole thing, I'm certain, has made
it heightens
anyone
fear.
who bought into it think that their neighborhood is less safe than it is. Just the
Yeah.
fact that
Yeah.
anyone was concerned about it
Yeah.
is now, and that is thinking about installing cameras and reporting people. I mean, they're more scared than they were before, I guarantee.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
without a doubt.
And the thing too is that we actually do have like evidence on this kind of stuff, because all you have to do is look at the wide swath of evidence we've collected around sexual predator watch lists, right? Which is, we know for a fact they have done nothing to, there's no visible evidence they've reduced, recidivism or anything like that, that it's, prevented a single rape or child molestation or anything like that. But it has made people increasingly paranoid about sexual predators, and it has allowed for the creation of more and more harsh sentencing, and essentially creating a second class of citizen for these people, so that you could say, like, I don't know, imprison them on an island after their sentence is served, right? Or you see lots of cities that pass laws that essentially like banish them from like large areas of the city and stuff
Right.
like that. And so we know that it creates a punitive mindset in the general public, but doesn't seem to actually solve any crime or anything like that.
Well,
Yeah.
there'd have to actually. I mean,
yeah.
we're judging the Let's not make this mistake of judging this, on the judging the effectiveness of this program
Oh, sure.
and this thing on the fact that they have not made any callers based on it. The key here is that no matter how effective this was, there's no fucking crime happening
The
in
whole
these
premise
is
neighborhoods.
bad.
Well,
Yeah.
I would
So-
argue that the exact same reason for the creation of this, or its function, is the exact same thing as a sexual predator watch list, which is to make people scared. Like, it's not.
absolutely.
It never had any intention of stopping a crime or anything like that. It was to make people scared, to make people support giant budget increases for the prosecutor's office and for the police department. And this is a similar thing. It's just a private industry version of it. Of the scarier you get, the more of these cameras they sell, right? The more paranoid you are, the more likely you're going to get these. And so if you see if one neighborhood has them, the neighborhood next to them might start asking some questions, and now they're getting blackpilled and they want to take it, right?
Yep.
So it's I mean, and that was the interesting thing about the Ring, is that's like directly part of their sort of model of linking it up with the message boards, was to make sure that they spread the paranoia,
Yeah.
like to make it
Yeah.
like a fucking disease.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got to make those hype beasts.
Yeah.
Jacqueline Helfgott, criminal justice professor and director of Seattle University's Crime and Justice Research Center, said some are concerned AI cameras will give rise to vigilantism and hysteria over certain types of crimes and potentially be used as tools for discrimination.
Yeah. No potentially about it.
Yeah. A Seattle Times analysis last year that compared 2016 and 2017 SPD crime data and Seattle University's 2017 public safety survey found Magnolia residents have a high fear of crime that's disproportionate to the reality of low crime in the area, which
There
we
you go.
covered at the time.
Yeah. How shocking.
Even so, Helfgott said, I don't want to discount people's fear of crime. Oh,
You
man.
should.
Yeah,
You
this
absolutely
is, This is
should.
some fucking
Do
Jenny
do
Durkin
that,
shit.
please.
Yeah, like seriously, there was some guy on Twitter who was like talking about like, I don't go to downtown Seattle anymore because it's a war zone, and I just made fun of him. Like, everybody you meet who says this shit, you should call him stupid. to
Yeah.
their face. Just be like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you're just so fucking stupid, you little baby boy.
If that impacts a person's quality of life, that can be problematic, even if they live in a low crime area.
So definitely feed the paranoia that's impacting their quality of
Yeah,
life.
we need to care about their
Does
feelings
this
more
even
than the
make
facts.
sense to the people saying it? Like,
I
Yeah.
hope. I don't know.
No,
man.
no, it's just it's because these people, it's all the people who are scared have money, and all the people who they're interviewing are scared of those people. So they can't just come out and be like, "Oh yeah, they're all stupid babies, and we should stop listening to them." Like the second words come out of their mouth, you should just tell them to shut up and turn around and walk away. Like, they are idiots. Like, and they should be told they're idiots. Like, you shouldn't reinforce this.
Yeah, we need to confront this idea, definitely.
Yeah.
In recent months, Amazon's smart doorbell company Ring has come under fire by privacy advocates worried about the company's sharing of surveillance footage with over 400 law enforcement agencies around the nation. In an October letter to local, state, and federal officials, more than 30 civil liberty organizations, including nonprofits Fight for the Future and the Center for Human Rights and Privacy, expressed concern that the partnerships allowed law enforcement free rein on footage that could be stored indefinitely and potentially pose a danger to black and brown communities that are more likely to be surveilled. Langley says Flock Safety automatically deletes surveillance footage after 30 days.
They don't.
Evidence.
Okay, I don't even know that for I don't know that for a fact, but I know that for a fact. They do not delete the footage.
I would bet against that as well.
Every company in the world that has said that has been found out to be lying, and I don't know why you would believe them this time.
No data ever gets deleted.
Yeah.
Evidence can be saved for longer periods during investigations. Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
But in Langley's eyes, the biggest mistake security companies make is storing data forever. We are drawing the right line in the sand for the balance between privacy and protection.
They're not.
Yeah, what?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah, they're not.
In Seattle, homeowners voluntarily grant the police access to footage, or SPD can request the data as evidence in criminal investigations. The length of time that footage from a private surveillance system is stored by police is dependent upon the severity of the crime and length of the investigation, said SPD's Whitcomb. Although a 2017 Seattle surveillance ordinance requires city departments to obtain city council approval of technologies currently in use, footage received from private surveillance systems such as Flock Safety are considered evidence collection and not monitored under the law.
Cool.
Whitcomb said, yeah, that rocks.
Well, so that would be why they turned them down from having a full-time access, because they would have had to get approval that they wouldn't have gotten.
Yeah. Yeah, in this sense, yeah, because it's held in private hands or whatever, the police can use it while washing their hands of the social responsibility of using it.
Right. He stressed that the police department does not have a business relationship with Flock Safety or Amazon's Ring. Yet is sort of the subtext there. While Andrews has his own cameras and a fence around his property, he says the AI camera has offered an extra layer of security. There does seem like there's been a small downtick in issues.
I like that. Seam doing a lot of work there.
Yeah, good
In
lord.
issues.
In issues, yeah.
This is
what are those
incredible.
issues? Yeah, there's literally, again, these people have no crime in their lives, which is why they can't cite it, right?
Yeah.
Like if you had an actual reason to be afraid, like if you're like, yeah, my house has been broken into like 10 times this year, you would say that in there. You'd be like, yeah, my house was broken in 10 times last year and 5 times this year. Like you wouldn't be saying issues, right? It's like, because there's no fucking crime.
Yeah. Most of this stuff is apocryphal, and it's traded over the Metropolitan Market line and dinner parties near Discovery Park.
Yeah, you are infinitely more likely to get robbed by your insurance company, by your credit card company, or by your bank than you are to get robbed in real life. You're infinitely more likely to be killed by your shitty fucking health insurance and by our shitty healthcare system than by another person on the street.
Yeah.
Or getting hit by a car than you are by any of this shit. I mean, it's fucking crazy. Yeah, basically, you're really more likely to get killed by a cop, yeah.
So here's the real kicker. Moreover, its presence has helped the neighbors create a greater sense of community. Many of them met for the first time during the meeting last winter where they discussed installing Flock Safety, Andrews said.
Cool.
I think everyone felt like they were investing in each other.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sure that's how everybody at that meeting with Reinhard Heydrich and
no, this is how they talked about the beer hall push afterwards. We felt like we were investing in community. We all got to meet each other, and a lot of connections were made.
Well, it's funny though. Again, like to underscore the obvious, that the thing that galvanizes these people is their fear and hatred of the other. Like that's what they really ultimately have in common.
Yeah, their fear and hatred of the other, and their just innate desire to punish. Yeah, there's only one thing that brings them joy in life, and that's just punishing someone who is poorer than they are. It's like truly disgusting.
Some might even say it's a mindset.
Yeah, exactly. But I know this article finished, and not to bring the show down anymore, but it is that UPS shooting in Miami where the police chased a UPS truck into a busy, traffic-filled road, then used civilians as human shields as they fired 200 rounds into UPS truck, killing anybody that happened to be in the area. Yeah. The reaction to that has been indicative of this mindset of people being like, well, they were criminals, so who cares that the police like did what they did? Like, the fact that people like tolerate this as a normal behavior and would ask
Absolutely
like,
insane.
yeah, what else were they supposed to do? That's the same mindset that has that we're seeing in this article, right?
Yeah.
And it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, that's where it leads.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better to kill innocent bystanders and hostages than let someone get away with something.
Exactly. The packages had to be protected.
Well, you know what? That's,
know?
Now that is what a lot of people pointed out, and I think rightly. What that is like a key narrative that people are pointing out, that the police exist only to
Yeah.
protect property, not you.
They
not
weren't
people,
protecting
okay?
property. They were getting their rocks
That's
off.
the thing. That I think that is
This was
a
about
good
murdering
sort
people.
of overall
Yeah.
critique of like policing in our society. I think you also have to, in the moment, in those cops' heads and in the way that people look at it. Yeah, I think you have to realize like that really wasn't what it was about. It was in some sort of structural way, yes. Like why the police are trained to do this, why
Why are they chasing that truck down,
why,
right?
yeah, why are they doing this? But I think in that moment and in the way people are looking at it, it is really the criminals can't be allowed to get away with this. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't just be allowed to get away,
Yeah.
even for a moment.
Yeah.
They can't be allowed to get out of your sight alive.
Yeah.
That. So yeah, well, gosh, I mean, so whatever. You have to unload a hail of bullets at them, and if other people die, that's a tragedy that just is unavoidable because you can't let them get away with this.
Yeah, and I mean the mindset I think was summed up of how that dovetails with the protection of property by Michael Perenni used to have this line that he would say, that every single, if you looked at any bank robbery in America, that the cost of resolving that robbery was far in excess of whatever was stolen. He's like, but that doesn't mean that resolving that crime wasn't about protecting property, right? Like in the case of the UPS truck, even if they fired shit into all the packages of the truck, right? Ultimately, it's about a show of force to, quote unquote, deter other. I mean, that's the cop mindset, to deter the other robbers of the packages, right? And to give you an idea of like how that plays out, they fired 200 rounds into this UPS truck, killing 4 people. But when Wall Street banks stole trillions of dollars of wealth, they weren't firing rounds into the Goldman Sachs, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like that's 2 levels of enforcement you get. One, you get high fives, except not because those bankers would never even deign to touch a fucking police officer. But but if you steal a package off a doorstep, you might get fucking air-holed, And it's fucking disgusting. I don't know, that whole thing and the reaction to it was fucking disgusting. And
absolutely
and
wretched.
this fucking article coming out about the same time, I felt was really pushing me over a fucking cliff on that one. But
Yeah, this is really terrible news. I had no idea anything like this
Sure.
was utilized or
so
existed.
Colin, so you clearly have the portal, right? So what does the video camera footage look like?
Wait, can you like get a login and then just like embed that stream into our site can it just be the masthead of Mechanical
just
Freak?
streaming constantly. Oh, somebody on Twitter did suggest in response to this article a good idea, which is that instead of repairing the Magnolia Bridge, we just blow it up like Bane. But I don't know if that would actually trap the people.
Yeah, no, that was but like that was a great point. Like, wasn't McGinn saying that?
Yeah, McGinn also was saying the bridge.
Like, maybe
just
we
gotta
don't.
go.
If they're so worried about people getting into Magnolia, maybe we don't need to rebuild the fucking bridge. I'm like, that makes
there you
sense.
Well, I gotta say I need that bridge or some other analogous egress from that side of the island. But that was terrible and doesn't make me feel very good about my neighbors. And how I already
Doesn't
felt
make
about
us
them.
feel very good about you, Colin.
I know.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you're very quick to remind me of that. So we have a few patrons to thank.
Woo!
Goth Brew, welcome to the fold. Jameson Hurlis, welcome. And August Eschbach, welcome.
Hey.
I think you may be our return patron, so
Blessed
thank you.
suckers.
Thank you
Yeah.
for coming
Yeah,
back.
Yeah, you've now become, our favorite listeners. Everybody else, trash.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yep.
Every week, there's a new favorite. You need to fight to get to the top of that pile.
Come to the Beacon Wednesday. Buy tickets now. They will sell out.
Yeah, Class of 1999, presented by Seattle Sucks, at the Beacon, Wednesday, 7 p.m., December 11th. Come by.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Yep. Very similar to this article, also. Lots of similarities.
Yeah,
there,
oh yeah.
thematically.
This is very fucking on brand,
Yeah.
for Class of 1999.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we want to see you. Come out.
Insane paranoia, like
Technology.
right-wing fantasias about
Technological hubris.
about crime, about
Yeah.
urban crime,
Artificial
to be solved
intelligence
by
even?
AI and technology. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
Class
that
1999
is
is what
Class
the-
of 1999.
Yeah, that's what the Magnolia residents imagine is happening in
Yeah.
Seattle.
No,
to
if
be
you showed
fair.
Class of 1999
Yeah.
to a Magnolia resident, they'd be like, "Yeah, this is what Seattle is like. We should get those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We
yeah.
should. This should be the solution."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, can I score some edge?
Yeah.
Oh man.
We forgot to mention everybody's constantly edging in this movie, so one more reason to watch it.
Oh, it's the best thing since Skin.
Yeah.
It's the best high since Skin.
All right. Well,
Hell yeah.
we want to see you out there. Come out.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.